Welcome to the Hibbing Economic Development Authority special meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do have everyone in attendance today. Approval of the agenda. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda for today?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion made by Mayor Hyduk,
Support.
supported by Member Cameron. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes. Number one, approve the minutes of the Hibbing Economic Development Authority meeting of July 14th, 2025. We get a motion.
Motion approved.
Motion made by Councilor Schweiberger,
Support.
supported by Vice President Jurenas. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now on to our public hearing. We will now convene our public hearing that's scheduled for this time to consider the business subsidy request from Iron Range Management. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on the business subsidy request from Iron Range Management? I will ask again, is there anyone who wishes to speak on this business subsidy request from Iron Range Management? The third and final call, is there anyone who wishes to speak on this business subsidy request from Iron Range Management? Okay, if there is no one who wishes to address the Heda board on this matter, I will now look for a motion to close.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to close.
Motion to close made by Mayor Hyduk.
Support.
Supported by Councilor Hoffman-Sockman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we are on to our presentations.
Madam President, members of the board, these presentations today will be quick because we are, you have seen them already at prior meetings. So the first one is the AMGS expansion project update. John Maxwell and Jason Wabama are here just to briefly explain the request for the extension of the date and the change order to include the $300,000 for equipment and building and installation of that equipment into the facility. Welcome, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning.
So as you guys know, we received the certificate of occupancy, at least the temporary certificate of occupancy. Jason has approval to move in and start operations from the city. There's a few pieces of equipment that we are working with Pat Green to get certified, and there's a couple things that we need. So Widseth has a small change order where they're working on some ductwork and some forced exhaust for the oven that Jason is building. And then we have some electrical design for bar engineering that they're going to work on certifying the electrical boxes that Jason has built, for this project to have the UL certification on the boxes. So we have a couple small change orders there. While we're working through that, we need a date extension to get to the end of the month, which is his target date to be fully moved over to the building. And then we are also lumping in his requested startup funds, that $300,000 that we talked about last month or last meeting, and all of that is within the current budget of the project. So we're not asking for a total budget increase. We're just utilizing the funds that are still in the project.
John, the update on the exhaust over the heater, the heater for your paint. What is the time frame on that?
Widseth is completing the design, and we have to get that out to a contractor to propose on.
Okay.
But that design is near complete. So I don't have a time frame, but we are hoping to get it up and running for Jason's operation.
Okay, very good. Jason, you're good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions, comments for John or Jason? Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen. The second item is the Hibbing Parents Nursery School update. Pia is not able to be here because it's 8 a.m. and of course that means childcare is in full operation. But in your packet, you do have that the budget amount for the renovation expenses is roughly 50,000, and then that moving reimbursement expense is not capped, but we do have quotes in here. So you can see that they have the lowest bids identified for the installing of the exterior door, the playground fence quotes, the playground landscaping, and then the moving for the various items. So the total relocation costs so far are $29,978, and the total moving costs so far are $8,233.20. And so a little bit later in the agenda, we're going to approve those expenses if you so choose to move those next steps forward. And because they're hoping to move out of the childcare at the end of this month, or at the end of August, it was a present and prescient matter to take up today, so. But we've been talking about this for quite a few months now, so we've been waiting for these numbers. Any questions on that? Excellent. Okay, so then the third item, and John Bugalis is here. If you had any questions for follow-up on the 400 block redevelopment project that was proposed by Kilborn Group, the Horizon Project, and the City Hall Commons, before you take up the discussion, now is the time that John can come to the podium and answer any of those follow-up questions.
How you doing?
Good morning, John.
You guys have any questions?
John, is 6 stories is what you're looking at, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you're looking on this project, it's 89 senior co-op units is what is being proposed.
Correct.
And 90% pre-sale or 80 units would have to be.
About 79 units.
79,
Yep.
okay. Stand corrected. And then you were also looking for 25 years of tax abatement, is that correct?
Correct, to keep the co-op pricing down.
For HUD? And then you need HUD approval too on this.
Correct.
And we're looking about a three-year timeframe out from, say, today.
About 18 months for HUD financing and planning or
Okay.
development, and then 20 months construction.
So a little more than 3 years. Okay, very good. Thanks I appreciate you bringing this project forward, and I know it meets the Maxfield housing study. You guys are hitting the co-op, the senior housing type, and you're looking at 12,000 square feet of retail.
Correct.
Okay. And I think your project as Rebound, you're looking at some local investment as part of the project.
Correct. There'll be
Okay.
some local investment.
That's all I have. It aligns with our comprehensive strategic plan, so
Okay.
I just wanted to confirm those.
Hey, John, with that being the co-op style, what are they looking at as monthly, like HOA fees?
So the final costs will get put together once the whole design is. I mean, there is a gap in funding, so, I'm not sure what the exact payment's gonna be right now. I mean, you're probably looking at somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 a month. And that's just, I'm not sure that that's the correct number, but
Okay. So we're looking at that on top of, once they purchase their place. and
yeah,
they're
they
looking
put a
at-
down payment down and then it's a payment. It's basically, it's the HUD loan. So the HUD loan that is there, whenever that, they give you the HUD loan and then you're paying that as part of the co-op. So the monthly payment will pay the HUD payment and all your maintenance. So whether, and maintenance, there's no maintenance for the tenants in a co-op. If your water heater goes out, there's no snow to plow, there's no grass it takes care of everything for you.
Okay, so just the one,
So,
The one
and we
rate.
won't have a final number on a monthly payment until we get all the design completed.
The down payment is what percent? 35% of,
The down payment is gonna be about 100 to 130 would be
Okay.
the down payment on the unit.
all right.
So, and the thought there is that they sell their home. Most people at that age have paid their home off. They sell their home, they make a down payment, and then you make your payments to the co-op.
Okay.
I guess I have a question relating to the construction. How long is Howard Street gonna be closed off during the actual demo and during the actual construction? I assume it's gotta be closed between Fourth and Fifth?
The demolition, I would say it would need to be closed during that time. During construction, I would imagine we'd lose the sidewalk. I don't think that Howard, there might be some traffic impediment at some point during the project, but it'll be open for most of the project.
And my second question is, considering what happened in Duluth with the central school, is there any way that we can get a written documentation showing actually what the financing is? Who's going to be doing the financing, how much the financing is going to be, and whether it's state, federal, personal, or IRRB, what it is? Can we get
Well, the
that?
financing will be HUD.
Okay,
It's-
yours
And that's
is all
based on pre-sales.
okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
But member Egan, if I may, that will all be clearly spelled out in the development agreement
Right.
as
Correct.
negotiated.
Yep.
Yep.
John?
Hmm?
So, can you talk a little bit about the retail space? It says here that it's paid for by the residential. So how does that work? And then the parking, is that additional cost then to the?
For the retail space?
Mhm.
So the retail space will be paid separately than that's gonna be owned by a company that I have with Tony Larson, City Hall Commons. So that'll be paid separately. So you're building a structure, obviously the commercial space will share costs on the building with the co-op. But that'll be not owned by the co-op. So afterwards, the commercial space below will be owned by myself and Tony. And then the co-op will be its separate ownership. The co-op will own the building entirely except for the retail space.
Okay, thank you.
So they would be paying their rent in the commercial retail then to you?
Correct. We'd bear the cost to build out the retail space, and that would be just a separate entity from the co-op.
Okay. And you would be in charge then of filling that retail space?
Correct.
Okay, so I guess I'm still not clear because it says paid by residential. So is, under this graph here, or maybe Betsy, you can speak to that a little bit? You have them side by side?
Member Hoffman
you can help me
Sockman,
out.
John, when we asked the question initially about where in the sources of the $370,000 per unit the retail cost was to bear for the building of 12,000 square feet plus the parking, the answer back from the Kilborn Group was that was borne by the $370,000 per unit. Now, we haven't seen any additional sources and uses come through since May, so they may be refining that further, but right now, it's borne by the $370,000 per unit cost,
Okay.
is how it was explained in the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
And you have done, obviously, the Kilburn Group has done these same the same type of a project before with the retail and then,
Oh, many of them, yeah.
And-
They've done quite a few facilities in Fargo.
okay, and they're all still viable, operating?
Viable, operating, yes. And if you guys want to go down and take a look, they'd be happy to give you a tour of some of their facilities. I think Pete has stayed in one of their hotels that they have down there.
I was down there, yep, it was very nice. It was there for a wedding.
Okay. And I've been there and toured many of their buildings, and it's first class real estate.
So on the real estate part, you said yourself and Tony is James Bagalis also part of that? or not?
He's a minority shareholder in the, you know,
Just see all three on here.
yep.
And what is the name of that company?
City Hall Commons.
No, the company that you own with,
Yeah.
City Hall.
City Hall.
okay. else thinking of any questions to ask?
Betsy, on 25 years tax abatement, explain that so everybody understands what tax abatement is over a 25-year period.
So, built into the city's ability to assist with the initial upfront costs of 6.2 to 8.5 million of that gap, the city has declared the 400 block a redevelopment TIF district, which means in order to assist with closing that gap, the tax increment financing is what the city is prepared to use. So the addition of TIF or tax abatement on the other side of that, we're already putting that into the ability to close the gap. So there is no ability to do additional tax abatement unless part of the tax increment financing is held back before, to close the initial gap. So the city council, when they refer this tax increment financing district back to the EDA would have to decide that only a portion of the tax increment financing could go towards closing the upfront gap, and then the remainder would have to be held aside for all of the co-op units in the project to get additional relief on their taxes as they pay them each year. So, right now, in order to close an $8.9 million gap, the city will actually need to include the entire TIF in that gap.
Okay, so
You'll
what
have to make a decision.
what I heard you say is our TIF for tax abatement can vary.
Correct.
So it can be 5 years, 10 years, 25 years,
This one has, a redevelopment TIF has a maximum of 25 to 26 years. You can opt to do it shorter,
okay.
to, use the funds towards the project.
Okay,
There are maximum declared by the state statute, not necessarily, this one has the maximum amount of years that you can use.
all right, and that's a council decision?
Well, the tax increment financing or the application for assistance will go to the council first, because that's a council's decision to make, and then they can refer that back to the EDA. We haven't been able to get an absolute value on this particular project as built yet, because we don't have the full cost to build or all of the fixtures and furnitures and what it will look like inside. But at some point, we can bring that to the county, and they can say, this is how much money that this particular project, once designed, will throw off in tax increment financing, or will be above and beyond what the current block has the ability to pay in taxes. And then that increment, what the new project will pay above and beyond what the current block pays, is where your increment comes from.
All right. John, a question for you then. The Kilbourne Group, I would assume, and maybe I'm hoping you can answer this, do they use tax abatement on most of their projects?
I would have to talk to Bill about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right, I'm just trying to put the pieces together so I
Yeah.
fully understand.
Yeah, I don't want to misspeak and
Yeah,
answer.
no, I understand. I appreciate you being honest that
Yep.
way. Okay.
Do you have a list of potential people that would be renting or would be, I guess, owning?
No, we don't have anybody secured, but we've talked to a few different people that are interested in it. The project would be a couple of years out, obviously, before it's completed,
Right,
so.
right.
But we have had some interest in commercial rental space. And our focus would be to put some tenants in there that could service the tenants of the building. So people can be in in their home upstairs and not have to go outside and maybe have the amenities they need right there on the 400 block.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any questions, comments? Okay,
All right,
I think we've,
yep, thank you very much.
Thank you,
John.
John.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time.
thank you, John.
All right, and the final question and answer period here is with Rebound. Brett Reese, who was on the the Zoom call or Teams call earlier, is here in person, so he wanted to meet all of you. And then he has with him Jeff Draxton in case there's additional questions. But you all have the presentation in your packet. They're not going to go through the presentation again, but Brett's going to highlight a few different things and then also give you a chance to ask them questions as well.
Thank you, Betsy, and thank you for the opportunity to share today. Yeah, I wasn't able to make it up with my coworker here, Jeff, last time, so it's a pleasure to be here and excited to potentially be working here in the city of Hibbing. My name is Brett Reese, and I am the managing partner of Rebound Partners, the umbrella over the Rebound organization. And up here representing Reva City, where we like to come into communities and work locally with the city and community leaders and individuals, companies, and invest in your backyard, where you live, where you work, called impact investing, community return, and also investment return. And then also Rebound Real Estate, which is our development arm working on a variety of different projects throughout the state of Minnesota on building and acquiring and elevating communities with real estate projects. My background, I'm a small town boy, a farm boy, Castle Rock, Minnesota, 3-room schoolhouse, 60 kids, 3 teachers, a janitor and a cook, and graduated from Northfield High School. I've always been an entrepreneur. I took out my first loan when I was 12 years old for a cow-calf operation, and been in debt ever since, unfortunately. But and then I became a CPA. Always been an entrepreneur though, and I became a turnaround artist, and then taking my work and then creating Rebound. I've been doing a lot of dabbling in real estate and such, and creating this in sort of an investment management company where we like to make investments in local communities and help manage those investments within the communities. We love to partner, we love to collaborate, and our motto is that we do nothing alone. And it's just a very exciting project to finally, get developed here in Hibbing. We hope that this may be the springboard for other projects here in Hibbing, that once we work within a community, get to know the people, the city, the community leaders, businesses. What are your needs? What are the other ways that we can help in the area of real estate and elevating your community with these amenities? So, pleasure to be here, and look forward to any questions and addressing any comments that you have.
Thank you. Thank you for coming this morning. And now yours is going to be a 4-story. 4-story, 56, and this is a market rate, and it's nothing like the first one, obviously. The first one was co-op, and this is going to be a market rate.
Yeah, and right now it's scheduled to be 4-story. Potentially it could be higher, but we're looking at a 4-story unit, and yes, it is a mixed use versus mixed use with a senior co-op. We're going to be looking at market rate apartments. There are a couple senior living downtown. We think bringing in a market affordable workforce type would be good for the downtown. There is a need, though, as previously mentioned by the other group, for probably another senior co-op here. But in building downtown, space is so important. So you want to, so apartments take market apartments take less space than, say, a senior, where you have a lot of amenities, community rooms, workshop, theater, that kind of stuff, where there's a need for it, but we think there might be a better site for that and we, eventually we could look at that project down the road too, somewhere else.
And you're going to have like 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom?
I think even up to maybe a 3-bedroom also, 1, 2, 3-bedroom. Mm-hmm. And as mentioned, commercial, retail, service, office on the first floor, a lot of parking's needed, and then residential living.
Okay. And then how about the rental rates?
I don't know what address.
They're gonna range probably between, I gotta go back and look what exactly I laid out there. I think we came in kind of at a very high conservative level. They're gonna range probably from 700 to, the 3-bedrooms would probably be up around 18. The 1 and 2 bedrooms are probably gonna be around 1,000 to 1,200. Maybe a little higher, depending upon the amenities within that specific unit. Now you're looking at market rate workforce, apartment rentals, and you're requiring on your units, 56 is what you're proposing, a 50% pre-sale for a green light to move forward, is that correct?
I don't, normally in apartments, you don't, you can begin building before pre-sale.
Okay,
So we would probably begin building, summer, fall of next year, working, locally and within the region on, local financing and such.
you just made a comment about proposed, because the design and proposed that was in your packet was 4-story. But you just made a comment, well, it could possibly go higher. Can you just more expand on that?
Yeah.
Well, I know there's gonna be an update on the housing study,
Yes,
and that'll probably help dictate where that goes.
Okay.
If we see there's a greater need for additional units, then we will, but it's gonna also come back to the parking,
yes,
which I know that's in the process.
right.
So we're kind of waiting on a couple of studies that will be completed, that'll probably dictate, if this goes higher
Yeah.
or not.
And both projects have underground parking for all the tenants, is that correct?
As of this moment, yes.
Yeah. You're looking also at TIF financing and private equity?
Correct.
17,000, yours was 17,000 square feet of retail down below.
Yep, retail.
Projected.
Yep, retail service office, commercial, yes. Mhm.
Okay. Or that's what I meant, commercial retail, yeah. And again, your project aligns with our comprehensive strategic plan. It does fit into our Maxwell study, so it's nice to see these projects come in using the information that we had invested in for our community. What would be the closest project similar to this, I noticed you've done throughout the state, to what you would do here?
Yeah, good question. So, let's talk Grand Rapids, let's go there. We created a real estate fund in 2019 in Grand Rapids, working with local, again, we work with local groups, and it was North Face, and we built a Best Western Hotel there, 80-room hotel, and then we also purchased an old apartment and elevated that, brought that back up in the community, and then also took an empty building and have 4 tenants in that, brought back that in the community. In terms of housing, Cook County, Grand Marais, we just broke ground earlier this year on a 36-unit apartment complex called The Heights. And we worked with a local group there too. We had 7 local people that were our local general partners. 17 different financing sources were used to put that together.
Okay.
So, and what we find in communities like this is the cost of construction, be it in the metro area, the cities, or outstate Minnesota, cost of construction, pretty similar. Rental units, apartment in the cities, maybe 2,500. Here, maybe half that, so you got that gap.
Right.
And that's what's really tough in doing development in outstate Minnesota.
So, Brett, you talk about local partnerships, and I see Katie Hildenbrand in the audience here. So you're partnering with Winseth, is that correct, if I'm
Yes,
on this
they are,
project?
they are doing our architectural and work there and overseeing the engineering. Yeah, so we love to work locally, and Katie and her firm is working with us on that.
Okay, good, thank you.
And with the market rate apartment now, who would be responsible for the maintenance?
Yeah, what we'll do is, so when we come into communities, work locally here, we will see if there are property managers leasing and that can do it locally. We also have a firm that can help oversee that, or a local firm, or if there's a firm that is very strong in that, we will hire them locally to do that.
I know, and I forgot to ask John this question, but we're in a historical district, so I know that the look of the building has to have the historical components to it. And John, I apologize, I meant to ask you that same question. So it's just something that I assume you're planning on adding into your component. You have a design there that shows, I think you already made an update on this from what I've seen before.
Well, I wanted the original, at least, design. We came into the project late. And there's quite a bit of work to be done up front on this as it goes further. But, you know, we wanted to include the white strips and the columns to kind of
Yeah.
match the city hall and.
The terracotta look,
Mhm.
a little bit.
Correct.
And each city has its own processes to go through. I don't know if you have a HPC, Historical Preservation Commission. So yeah, we will work, and Witsith will work very closely with that in the design and making sure that it meets the requirements that's, you know, that Hibbing has, the standards that it has.
The last question I have, you were looking at about 26 months if things move forward smoothly. Is that still correct?
Yeah, our goal would, our goal would be to 24, 26 months is what we'd be looking at, yes.
All right.
Anybody else have any questions?
The length of TIF on that project, what were you looking at on that?
I'm sorry, what was the question, John?
The length of the TIF?
As
Commitment?
Betsy said, you know, it's a redevelopment TIF, and I think you can go up to 26 years on those, if I'm not mistaken. So that we probably want to maximize the amount that we can in order to get this project across the finish line.
Member Schreiberger, one note to that, the EDA board does have the ability to negotiate that again, to say there's a set amount or a set of years and an amount at the same time. So that is the value of the TIF is the 26 years, but the EDA board can decide to make that shorter.
Yeah.
Any other questions? or-
Personally wouldn't like to max out on either one of the projects, whatever way we go. But obviously, as you're on both your group side of it, maxing out is what you're looking for. But personally, I would definitely be on the low side on that.
Is your project require HUD approval?
No,
No.
it's not.
Okay.
There's, state of Minnesota also has a program, workforce housing,
Okay,
which is fairly active in the workforce side.
all right.
Which is, you know, we'll qualify for. And the expectations are that, you know, if we get through the process smoothly, that we get some substantial benefit from that.
Okay,
In our presentation, we have sort of a list of uses and sources, and we'd be working very closely with Betsy and others in trying to identify as many gap financing sources that we can to assist in this project.
Thank you.
Nobody else has any questions? No further discussion?
Well, again, thank you for the opportunity and your consideration, and it's a great community, and we're excited to potentially be working with you guys.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are done now, it looks like, with our presentations, Betsy.
Yes, ma'am.
Department and committee reports is our next section here. So right back to you again, Betsy.
So the request, A, is to approve the renovation expenses for Hibbing Parents Nursery relocation as presented. That is total relocation cost thus far, $29,978, and total moving costs of $8,233.20.
Is there a motion to approve this renovation expense for the Hibbing parents?
Motion approved.
Motion made by Counselor Schreiberger,
Support.
supported by Counselor Hoffman-Sockman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to B.
This second item is to approve the business subsidy for Iron Range Management in the amount of $203,273.80, along with the rest of the requirements in the business subsidy for job creation.
Do we have a motion to approve the business subsidy for Iron Range Management?
I'll make a motion, Madam Chair.
Motion made by Mayor Hyduk,
Or
supported by
Support.
Member Egan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. to C.
This item is a request to approve the loan request for Iron Range Management in the amount of $58,900, which is in tandem with the business subsidy agreement.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the 58,900?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Vice President Drainus,
Support.
supported by Counselor Schreiberger. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. D.
The next item is the request to approve the change order to add the, extend the completion date to August 29th, 2025, and include the equipment financing in the amount of $300,000. The other two items that are in there are already included in the design contingency, but because they changed the master project budget for this meeting, I wanted to highlight them as additional expenses.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve this change order?
Motion to approve.
I'll support.
Motion made by Counselor Hoffman Sockman and supported by Mayor Hyduk. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, if I may, we did receive approval through the IRRR for this, to add this expense into there and extend the deadline.
Okay, thank you. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next item on our agenda is going to be the discussion of our developers' proposals for the 400 block of our redevelopment project, along with some consideration of selecting a developer. I'll now turn the floor over to Betsy to present the details as provided to us over the past few months and lay some of the groundwork for the discussion.
Madam Chair, members of the board, in your packet today, you had both proposals, the latest and greatest that have been provided by both groups of developers. You also have the developers side by side with the project summary, the city considerations, including housing type and market fit, the alignment with the 2023 housing study, the units required by our 2023 Maxfield study, what the retail and street activation is planned for each of the developments, alignment with the 2018 comprehensive plan, alignment with the 2023 strategic plan, information on the economic impact and tax base, and then the financial feasibility and gap that the developers are considering. You also have the current 400 block redevelopment sources and uses in front of you, including all of the different property acquisition, what the estimated development costs are so far and where those funds are coming from, and so what the city has invested thus far in the project. You can see that the city funding thus far is $782,000, and so therefore that is something that the city council and the EDA have contemplated will be repaid to the land acquisition and to this project fund via tax increment or tax abatement from the project. And right now, we have secured $428,312 of outside funding, with the additional request into the IRRR for hopefully assistance with demolition on the 402 East Howard building, the Teskey building. You also have your developer selection criteria that was approved at a prior meeting, along with the weighted scoring matrix, which you have all had time to consider over the past few months as you consider all of these items of each proposal. So at this time, if you have questions or you want me to answer anything about the various items that are in your packet, I'm happy to do so. Otherwise, I trust that you can handle the discussion at this point.
Madam Chair, I have one question for Betsy. Based on both proposals, the time frame on our demolition, are we in position to meet that time frame regardless of who we go with?
Excellent, thank you. Good question. So the tax increment financing, once you demo the buildings, and it starts at the beginning of the demolition, not the end, you have a 36-month time frame to certify the district, as presented by Michaela from Baker Tilly when she came and presented to both City Council and
Yep.
the EDA. So the sooner you can start the project and start putting the project together, the better off you are. The one project contemplates an 18-month timeframe to get all of the financing together. That will use up 18 months of the TIF district certification window. The other one contemplates 6 to 9 months of that. I think we heard today summer, but the initial presentation said next spring. So the timeframe there is a little bit shorter to get the financing together and start the project. So that 36-month window is state statute. So if something were to happen along the way in either project once selected, we would have to go to the state legislature to ask for an extension on that 36-month window.
Is that a doable thing, if we needed it?
The state statute
Yes.
extension, I have seen it done, when I've been down at the Capitol, so yes, it is possible. I've never done it myself, and I don't know if the city of Hibbing has ever requested it, but it is possible.
So again, and it goes back to what you just said, just to reiterate what you said, as soon as we level that area, the TIF kicks in.
The waiting, yes, the
The waiting,
36-month
yes.
waiting
Mhm.
period. Yep,
Okay.
yep. And so the sooner then that the project starts, or the sooner that the project is into financing, the more certainty you have as you go along that window. So the one HUD program, I believe they said it takes 18 months to get through that whole application to determine if financing will be approved. And then the other one is different types of funding through the state and regional sources.
Okay.
Well, anybody have any other comments for Betsy or questions regarding this decision?
I don't have any other questions, but I do think, I don't want to delay a decision. I think both groups, Tilborn and Rebound, have given us good information. I think they're two good projects and two good developers, and it's a good problem to have right now. I mean, to have to make this decision, it's a good problem. It means we're moving our city forward. So I think we need to make a decision. I think we want our developers to know where they're going, what they're doing after they leave this building, and what their next step is.
Totally agree, and I think we've had a long process with good discussion regarding this, so I think we are in a position to go ahead and move this forward. This tough decision.
It is tough to say.
It
Yes,
is.
it is very hard. Both very good groups.
Do we need a motion?
So I guess.
Just- Do we bring one forward? Is that, how do we do this?
How would we do it, Andy?
How do we do this?
I think you'd make a motion to accept whichever development proposal you'd like to go forward with and have discussion on, and if you get a second, have discussion on that, whether that's the one that
Okay,
you'd like to go forward with, vote on that one, and if that one doesn't pass, then you
Okay.
can, you said, unless there's the consensus of the board doesn't agree with the mayor's comments, then I think you'd probably consider the second proposal if the first one doesn't succeed.
So basically, we're just right now looking for a motion to move forward with.
Negotiations with that developer, whichever one you select.
So at the point that we make a motion and it approves, then the city's in negotiations with that developer. And what's the time frame?
That, Mayor, members of the board, that's up to you on
Okay.
behalf of Heda and the developer to work through that as to what they need in detail and what the Heda needs in detail with regard to writing as to locking that developer into what their commitment is and their timeframes on a stronger basis than just their proposal.
so in reading the agenda then, Andy, I'm interpreting this as it's two separate motions. One would be if we bring a developer forward, and then the next motion would be to authorize the staff to negotiate. Is that correct?
That's how it's
It's-
presented.
that's
and
how it's presented.
That's what I would recommend. So
Okay.
you're authorizing Betsy and Greg
Right.
to work with the developer, whichever one you select, to hammer out a more substantial agreement versus simply their proposal. And then coming back for HEDA approval of that. Once the developer's selected, though, I think Betsy's a little safer to move forward with the demolition on a timeline. She knows exactly what's going on there.
So our first motion then is going to be to make, to select which developer, I guess we want to move forward with. So open the floor to who,
Well, I'll make a motion. And I'm basing this on time frame, pre-sale components. I think both projects are outstanding, but my recommendation is to go with Rebound.
okay, we do have a motion on the floor from Mayor Hyduk.
Support.
Supported by
Counselor Hoffman.
Counselor Hoffman-Sockman. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion on this? And this is for the Rebound Group.
Yes, correct.
Okay, no other further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So our group is going to be the Rebound Partners moving forward. Congratulations. And then now we are going to need a motion to authorize the staff to negotiate this development agreement with Rebound Partners.
Make that motion.
Motion made by Vice President Drainus. Supported by Member Cameron. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Excellent, okay. Now I guess we are done with that section. We can move on to our Finance Director, Treasurer Sheena Mulner.
I have nothing for the board this morning.
Nothing for the board. Thank you, Sheena. And move on, right next to her is City Attorney Andy Borland.
Nothing today on the special meeting. Thank you.
Nothing for Andy Borland. Okay, so I guess we are all through. We need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mayor Hyduk. Supported by Councilor Schreiberger. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.